The time is now 6:04 p.m. This March 17, 2025 regular meeting with the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. Let the minutes show that all board members, with the exception of Ms. Crippen, Sharp, and who else? Mr. Alters, are present. If this meeting has been called in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. All items that will be discussed or voted on this evening have been posted as required by state law. On behalf of the New Caney ISD Board, we're pleased that you have joined us. We celebrate achievement, set goals, listen reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel, and make policy for the district. Sounds exhilarating. We are not here to make management decisions or to solve problems of individuals, but management is the responsibility of the superintendent. This meeting is a meeting in the public, not a meeting of the public. So as our guests, we welcome you to observe and listen. Thank you for your interest in New Caney Independent School District, and we now ask that you silence cell phones at this time. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Ms. Harrell and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be led by Mr. Trout.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here tonight to go about the business of the district. I pray that all things we do would honor and glorify you. We ask your protection and your blessings for our first responders and our soldiers who fight to keep us safe both at home and abroad, and that we be with our country as we move forward these difficult times. Forgive us of our sins, and in Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under Texas flag, and pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one candidate.
All right. Item number 2 on the agenda is open forum, and I don't believe that we had anyone signed up to speak today. So item number 3 on the agenda is the superintendent's report that's presented by Mr. Calvert.
Tonight we've got 3 schools with us that we're going to recognize. So first up is Miss Davis and her staff from Brookwood Forest Elementary School.
Let me get on my. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do the recognitions to our amazing team at Brookwood Forest. So we're going to start right here with Miss London. She is the student that we're recognizing tonight. Tonight we're honored to recognize London, a student who truly embodies the spirits of Brookwood Forest Elementary. London is a kind and caring friend to everybody. She always is greeting and smiling and always have a positive attitude. She demonstrates empathy by helping her friend. Her favorite part of the school is the whole-broken instructions, and she loves singing and dancing. Her favorite class is music. She loves go there and move and shine. So we are honored to have London at our school, and we cannot wait to see the amazing things that she's going to do next year as she moves to the middle school. So we are so proud of you, London. Right here, you're going to check everybody's hand in a second, okay? All right. So we're going to continue with Miss Evelyn. Miss Evelyn is our cafeteria manager. Miss Evelyn has been with New Caney ISD for over 25 years, and her dedication goes beyond what is just managing the cafeteria. She makes sure that not just the students, but also the staff is always well taken care of. And she is also a magician when we are short on people in the cafeteria. I don't know how she does it, but we get 800 students coming in and out of cafeteria every day, and she does an amazing job. So for that, we want to recognize you tonight. Thank you, Miss Evelyn. Next, we have Miss Maria Valenzuela. She's our head custodian. Miss Valenzuela, it's not just the first person who get into school in the morning, but she's also making sure that the school is clean, organized, and ready for students and staff. But Maria does more than that. She also makes sure that we work on this together, helping us to all keep each other accountable for keeping our building shiny every day. So for all of that, we thank you, Miss Valenzuela. Then we have our paraprofessional, Miss Samantha Lopez. So we proudly recognize Miss Samantha Lopez. She's our dedicated library paraprofessional. Her passion for reading has greatly impacted our students, increasing book checkouts from 2 books every 9 weeks last year to an incredible 8 to 9 books per week this year. Ms. Lopez creates a welcoming and exciting library where students love to read. Thank you, Ms. Lopez, for your hard work and dedication. Last but not least, I have Ms. Resendez. She's the teacher that we're recognizing today. So my journey with Ms. Resendez began 13 years ago when I had the honor to be her twin second grade teacher. And from that moment, I witnessed at firsthand the passion and dedication that will shape her path in education. She started as a devoted parent volunteer in my classroom, then took a role of a substitute teacher, followed by becoming a paraprofessional. But she didn't stop there. She went back to school, earned her degree, and became a teacher, pouring her heart and soul into her students every day. And now she continues to push forward, currently pursuing her master's degree in educational leadership. Ms. Resendez embodies the value of hard work and perseverance and excellence. She's not only an incredible educator, but she's a true example of how new Caney ISD we grow our own. Today, she leads her team with the same passion that brought her to education. I am so proud to have her to be part of my team. Thank you, Ms. Resendez. Thank you, board members.
All right, next up is Miss Nolenberg and the folks from Oakley Elementary.
Well, good evening, Mr. Calvert and board members. I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize a few of our outstanding people who make Oakley a very special place. We're going to start out with our 5th grade student, Samantha Torres, and I am so honored to recognize this outstanding student who embodies excellence, dedication, and leadership. This evening, we celebrate Samantha Torres, a remarkable 5th grader at Oakley. She demonstrates exceptional achievement in academics, leadership, NGT, and fine arts. Samantha is not only a higher achiever, but also a role model among her peers. She approaches every challenge with determination, kindness, and a true love for learning. Whether it's excelling in the classroom, helping classmates, or making a difference in our school community, she represents the very best of what we strive to instill in our students. Please join me in congratulating Samantha for her outstanding accomplishments and making Oakley proud. All right, our next person is Rosa Hernandez. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing someone who truly makes a difference at Oakley Elementary daily as our head custodian. Rosa Hernandez. Since joining us in January, Rosa has been an instrumental force in keeping our campus shiny, literally and figuratively. She leads her team with high expectations, leads by example, and brings an incredible sense of responsibility and respect to everything she does. Because of Rosa, our students and staff walk into a spotless building each day, ready to learn and grow. But more than that, she is a joy to have on campus, and we are so grateful for her dedication and heart. Rosa, thank you for everything you do for us.
Well,
All right, next we have Miss Caraway. I'm just going to say Miss Caraway, okay? I practice her last name and I still don't do it really well. So to me, it is Miss Caraway. So tonight I have the privilege of recognizing an incredible leader at Oakley Elementary, our cafeteria manager, Miss Caraway. Since 2013, she has been a dedicated part of NCISD and Oakley. She leads our child nutrition team with excellence, feeding over 800 students 2 meals a day, and that is no small task. But Miss Caraway makes it look effortless. She creates a cafeteria environment that is just not efficient, but it is calm and welcoming and a place where all students feel cared for. No matter what challenges come her way, she is flexible, dependable, and always finds a way to make things work. Her leadership is truly invaluable, and I would be lost without her. Miss Caraway, thank you for your dedication, your heart, and making Oakley a better place every single day. So this is Miss Letty, and she is our paraprofessional, and she is also my secretary. So tonight I have the absolute privilege of recognizing an extraordinary member of Oakley Elementary, Miss Letty. Miss Letty has been at NCISD for 12 years. She has served in many roles, including paraprofessional, attendance clerk, register, and administrative secretary. Through every position she has held, she has brought an unmatched work ethic, a positive spirit, and a heart of service. For me personally, Miss Letty has been my right hand. I truly could not do my job successfully without her. She turns the ordinary into extraordinary, always going above and beyond to support our staff, students, and families. No matter the task, she tackles it with a smile, a can-do attitude, and a level of excellence that is simply remarkable. But what makes Miss Letty even more inspiring is her determination to reach her goals. She had set her sight on becoming a teacher. And this past December, she achieved that milestone by graduating from college. And now, in this upcoming school year, she will step into her role as a second grade dual language teacher at Oakley. While I will be incredibly lost with her by my side in the office, I could be prouder of her accomplishments. I know she will bring the same passion, dedication, and excellence to her students that she has always brought to our campus. Letty, congratulations. We are so grateful for all you've done for Oakley, and we can't wait to see the incredible impact you have in the classroom. All right, last but not least is our amazing music teacher, Miss Pennington. So tonight, I have the privilege of recognizing an incredible educator. Miss Pennington, with 28 years in education, 14 of them at Oakley. She has been our first and only music teacher, shaping the hearts and minds of every student who has walked in our doors. Miss Pennington has brought music to life at Oakley, creating magical performances that showcase not only her students' talents, but also she holds high expectations for them. She pours her heart into every grade level's yearly performance, inspiring the love of music that will last beyond their elementary years. But Miss Leslie's impact doesn't stop there. She goes beyond leading our school after-school rocket choir and always stepping up as a team player. She has truly left her mark on our campus, and her influence will be there for years to come. As she prepares to retire at the end of this year and begin a new, exciting chapter, we want to express our greatest gratitude for you. Miss Pennington, Oakley will never be the same without you, but we are so thankful for everything you have given our students, staff, and school. We wish you all the best in your next adventure.
All right, and next is Miss Sykes and the Infinity Early College Knights. Come on down.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Calvert and school board members for this opportunity to recognize some amazing staff members and students at Infinity Early College High School. First up, we have our female student athlete, Meliza Flores Gonzalez. Meliza had an incredible 24-25 season, setting new school records and achieving major milestones. School record for the fastest 2 mile, school record for the fastest 5K, district champion, regional qualifier, state qualifier, and most valuable runner award. A word from the coaches. On top of her athletic accomplishments, Meliza is in the top 10 of her class academically. She's also a sophomore class officer, and this young lady sets goals that allows nothing or no one to stop her from achieving those goals. What an outstanding year she's had, and we can't wait to see what she accomplishes next. Good job, Meliza. Thank you. Next, we have our senior, Oren Baker. Oren has been a key leader on our team throughout his 4 years in the program. Top 10 finisher at district all 4 years. Regional qualifier all 4 years. One of the most consistent runners in the program. And he showed incredible dedication, pushing through injuries and always giving his best effort. A word from the coaches. We're also proud of Oren and everything he has accomplished this school year. His leadership and commitment have made a lasting impact on our program, and we are grateful for everything he has contributed. Oren developed into a strong leader over the course of his 4 years. He started out as a quiet member, but he's pretty vocal now. Oren pushes his fellow teammates and constantly encourages them. He's played a central role in Infinity's boys team, advancing to regionals for the past 2 years and leading the team to consecutive second place finishes at district. Good job, Oren, and congratulations on all your accomplishments. Next, we have my wonderful secretary, Ms. Araceli Salcedo. Araceli has been in the district for a total of 17 years. This is her second year at Infinity. She is caring, kind, and hardworking. She is my right hand, my right arm, and my right foot, all of them. She greets our staff and students with a warm smile and kind words, always willing to help out in any way she can. She shows up daily and works hard. She shared the following about the joy on the job. The joy that I get from this job is working with a great team, a second family, finding ways to uplift one another and making sure that we always put our staff and students first. We have a great bond with our students, making them feel safe, heard, and seen. Araceli, thank you for all you do for our campus. You are appreciated. Thank you. Next, we have our wonderful cafeteria worker, Miss Brenda. Ooh, she told me how to say it earlier. Bear with me. Okay, Miss Brenda. Yes, thank you. She has been at Infinity for 3 years. She's very dependable and a team player. Her manager describes her as a leader in the cafe. She shared about Brenda. She shows up daily with a smile on her face. That's important. When you're working with people, you need to know how to smile and treat people right. So thank you, Miss Brenda. She is an eager learner. She has knowledge of the kitchen. And without Brenda, her manager stated she would be lost without her. She is not just a great coworker. She is an awesome person, an awesome friend, and a great mom. Brenda is an asset to our campus, and her kind heart, warm smile, and loving spirit is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Next up, we have our custodian, Maria Cabrera. Maria is described by her coworkers as being a team player. She does an amazing job keeping our campus clean and beautiful and always has a positive attitude. She works well with her coworkers to get the task at hand done. Maria started at Infinity on August 1st, 2025, and her coworkers are grateful to have her on their team. She is kind, dedicated, and committed to her role at ICHS, and you are appreciated. Thank you. Last but not least, we have Miss Mary May McCarthy. This is Miss McCarthy's 10th year in the classroom, her 17th year in education, and her 2nd year at Infinity. When asked what brings her joy on the job, Miss McCarthy stated the following: witnessing the aha moments of students brings me joy. I teach because I want to help foster the next generation of critical, innovative, and resilient thinkers, citizens, and leaders. We are beyond blessed to have Ms. McCarthy at Infinity. She is an amazing teacher, and she is also senior class sponsor. She took on prom. She is the real MVP. Thank you, Ms. McCarthy. Ms. McCarthy shared an expression during the first week of school that has stuck with me this entire school year. It's been a rough year for me personally, but she stated something at the very beginning. What if it all works out? Yes, indeed. Thank you for sharing that, because at the end of the day, if you think back, what if it all works out? One way or the other, it's going to work out. So thank you, Ms. McCarthy, for all that you do.
Yeah, certainly.
Thank you all for your time.
And that.
All right, next up, I'd like to recognize Miss Chris Poole. She is with CASA Demographics, and this name should sound familiar. We've used this firm as long as I've been here. Last time they gave us a report was in spring of 2022. So this work is very important as it lays a foundation for budgeting, staffing, potential bonds, all that kind of good stuff. So if you are a numbers person, these next few minutes is just for you. The reports y'all see up here will be available on our website soon, as well as this presentation. So Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Calvert, and board members. We appreciate the chance to be here. Can you guys hear me? My head's a little stopped up with my allergies. I can't hear myself. I am the planner that was assigned to this project. Caroline Couch is also here. She is the demographer that did work on this project. There are a dozen of us in the office, and absolutely everybody touches every single project that we do. But we're just the two faces that you guys get to see tonight. We are going to try to go over that report just a little bit, hit the high points. I know you've got other things to do tonight, but we're hoping to just let you know some of the more important and interesting things that we found. Just a little bit about the process and how we go about this. When we get a phone call from you guys, of course, we have to start gathering background data. We've got to start trying to understand what all has gone on since the last time we were here. It's been several years. I think I've presented in this room about 3, maybe 4 times at this point. So we have to go back and we have to update all of the data that we've got. It's census data, it's TEA data, but then it's also very much building a large, very robust GIS map. You guys have in that tube right behind you there. I snuck in before y'all got here and left you large maps that I hope that, everybody can use. A lot of times we'll see them pinned up on everybody's office, and we hope they're very helpful. They include appraisal district information. They include polygons for your subdivisions. They include polygons for future housing, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's one of the base level pieces of data that we have to build. We have to understand economic and housing data. Of course, you guys don't get new students unless you have new rooftops in most cases. And so Caroline is going to speak to that here in just a second. We also study your past and current student population because most of the kids you're going to have next year, you've already got today. And so we geocode those students. They pop up like little dots. And then we also have at this point several years worth of data and have geocoded older data sets too. So we can look and see what's going on in the existing subdivisions and the homes that are already here. We generate projections. We'll generate 3 scenarios of growth with their district-wide projections, but then we also take that down to the planning unit level. It's a little sectors of the district. And then we analyze and try to figure out what that's going to mean for you guys for facilities, because at the end of the day, that's really why we're here, right? So first, we'll start just with a little bit about demographic trends. The first map here is TEA data. And at this point, this data is a 5-year change. It goes from the fall of 18 to the fall of 23. The fall of 24 data came out, I think, on Thursday. So that's why this is the 23 data. We're still crunching all of that and starting to put all of that together. But it should give you an idea. Sometimes I think it's very interesting to look at the metro area just by color. You can see that sort of the Houston and the school districts that are right around it are in blue. That means they're losing students. And so everybody that is in that shade of maroon there is gaining students. And of course, that's you guys too, having gained about 3,600 students between the fall of 18 and the fall of 23. We work all in that area. We actually ring the entire Houston area and do work for Houston ISD as well. So we're quite familiar with the area. We're in Splendora and doing work for them here recently. This just gives you an idea of sort of what's going on in the region with your neighbors. This is what your growth looks like as a bar graph over the last 10 years. And so you can see growth. I know this isn't a surprise to anybody. It's up, 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 and it's actually a little more up, up, up in the last couple of years. And we think we'll probably ramp up a little more than that. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Currently, 19,420 students. Most numbers that you see, we aim to PEAMS most of the time. We feel like the data is cleanest at PEAMS. And so we try to do that annual pinpoint to that PEAMS snapshot. The last 5 years of the projection period here, of this historical data showed 662 students gained per year on average. The first part was 626. The last time we did a study, we projected an average of about 613. So we're all sort of right there in order and in line. But we do see that we do expect that upward tick from the 600 and some odd students. One thing that is difficult for us to get out is the number of kindergarten students. We can't knock on a door and ask how many 3-year-olds are in every house, right? But one thing that we can do is we can get at the birth data by zip code of the birth mother. And the zip codes don't exactly line up with the school district. We're well aware of that fact. We have to massage that data using some population points and some other tedious stuff. But we can get birth data, and then we move the births 5 years forward and compare it to kindergarten enrollment. And so that gives us a little bit of an understanding for the next 3 or 4 years what that looks like and how many kiddos you may see walking in the door based on births alone. And so you can see your kindergarten enrollment is higher than your births, and that happens when you've got new homes that are moving in. People come into a new home and they got a 3-year-old, so that means that they weren't born in this zip code. Over time, those numbers actually will get closer together as you start to build out, and then actually you'll see your kindergarten enrollment drop below your births because not every child goes to school. There may be homeschool, they may be private school, that sort of thing. That's just an interesting trend that we see as a district ages. The most important thing to me there is that real strong uptick right at the end. You see quite a change there in that slope of that line for births. And so we think that may very well, that your kindergarten enrollment may very well follow that because it has tracked so closely in the past. Past and current students is the next little section we're going to talk about. And I wanted to stop right here and emphasize, I mentioned the word planning unit earlier, and everything that is in your report is organized by planning unit. And planning units are something we start with your attendance zones. We start with major roadways. We start with changes that the district has made in attendance zones since the last time we were here. We started with census to find block groups to generate these planning units. And so there are a lot of things that go into this. But this is our organizational scheme, and all of these fit inside your current attendance zones. So when we organize the data, we can sum it to your current zones, and then we can break it all apart and look at what might happen later. But if you're ever interested in understanding a particular subdivision or what's going on down the street, if you can find it by planning unit, then you can look up absolutely everything we know about it there in that report. So I mentioned that we geocode the student population, and there are little dots on the map, and what this actually shows is 2 different years of data. This is 2019-20, and then your current data. And so you can see anything that is yellow is a student dot that did not exist in 2019-20. And so they're really sort of clustered. If you sort of start on the western side of the district at Highlands and then up to Country Village and Tavola and Roman Forest on around, you can see a little bit of yellow all over. And so we don't want to forget in our talk and thinking about the big amounts of growth in the northern portion of the district, we don't want to forget that there's plenty of other stuff going on still in the southern portion of the district. You can see that yellow there that proves that. This is something that I find that's quite striking for your district. This is something that we have to look at just as sort of background data. This is just merely a look at how many students were in each grade level for the last 10 years for you guys, but it is color-coded for each year from K through 12 without 9th grade, because 9th grade is so often the biggest cohort. So it's color-coded based on which cohorts are the largest. And so the largest ones are in maroon, and you can see that your current high school age sort of kids have been the large cohorts all the way back since they started school, since they came into the district. And so this is important to us because that means that you've seen some growth in high school in the last couple of years that is only based on the fact that there's a bulge of kids moving through. And so in the next couple of years, as that bulge moves out, then your baseline number of students is going to drop a little bit at the high school level. And then you're going to get students on top of that from new housing and everything. But like I mentioned, most of the kids that you are going to have next year are the ones that are already here. So we have to start with your base level data, and we'll stack on top of that. But just realize that you'll see a trend as those large cohorts go ahead and move out of the high school. And so this is just one of the pieces of the projections that we have to consider. Then one other thing that's very, very important that we do with those geocoded students that I mentioned is that we develop a ratio of students per home. And it may be that you assume that 1 or 2 kids is sort of the average in every home, and it's not. It may be sort of the average in every family, but I've got 2 kids. They're both in college, and so they have to be averaged in with a house across the street that's got 2 little boys that are in elementary. And so right now, your average number of single-family, of students per single-family home, per occupied single-family home, is a 0.58. And so that's, I've seen some suburban districts that have higher numbers. I've seen Caney, I think right now is like 0.70. But then some of the districts that are not far from you guys, Willis, for example, is much lower than that. We think because of their proximity to the lake. There are plenty of people that own homes there that don't have school-age kids. That's not why they own a home there. And so this is a number that we just have to generate in every single district. Every single district is different. But once we generate that average, we throw it away. That average is only generated for this slide here because we have it for every single subdivision that is in the district. And it ranges from, you guys have 14 subdivisions that are lower than 0.1 students per home. And then you have 27 that have more than 1 student per home. And so that's such a wide range. And every time we project for a new home, we have to project not only when and where we think that new home is going to occupy, but then how many students we think are going to emanate from each one of those homes. And so we do vary that ratio based on the type of development, the proximity to schools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We vary it based on data that we find in your district and that we find in other districts because we do work everywhere in this area. Same sort of thing goes for multifamily, and I want to spend a little time on multifamily. I know I'll get a lot of phone calls a lot of times. oh my gosh, there's an apartment complex coming in. Are we going to have all of a sudden a bunch of extra students come in? But the average number there for multifamily units is a 0.22. So in other words, it would take 100 occupied multifamily units to get 22 students. And so again, those numbers vary a lot. You have 2 that are greater than 0.6 students per home, occupied multifamily home. But then you also, over the last 10 years, the multifamily units that have occupied since the fall of 16, those range from 0.11 to 0.21. And so much of the time when we get a brand new complex that comes in, it's heavily amenitized, it's got a weight room, it's got 3 pools, it's got all of these things. And parents can't always afford those sorts of multifamily units. And so we'll see that ratio for brand new units being much, much lower. And then over time, it gradually gets a little bit higher. But do realize that there is quite a difference there between the single family and the multifamily ratio in the district. This slide talks about alternative educational opportunities. That's what we're calling it these days when we're talking about charter schools, about private schools, about virtual schools, and we have to leave, homeschool. We can't leave that out. And then, of course, there's always discussion about vouchers. It used to be that the charter schools were just sort of a mere annoyance, 15, 20 years ago. It didn't really impact our job that much. But at this point, we have to do an inordinate amount of study about the charter schools because if and when a charter school opens inside the confines of the district, it will affect the enrollment of the district. We have done some work on the west side of Houston where we had a charter school come in and open up. We had old data and we could compare the new data. And the vast majority of the students came from within only a couple mile radius because they don't normally provide transportation. And so the good news is right now we are constantly studying the amendments that are filed with TEA every summer. We don't see anything on the horizon in the district. What this shows is the district and the proximity to the other schools that are drawing at least a few students from the district. But the difficulty there is that the charter schools can come in overnight. They can open in an old, retail center or something like that for a little while they build, and that the amendments are very, they're non-specific. It may just say we're going to open another school in the northern part of the Houston area, and when it's so important about exactly where that is, that doesn't give us a lot of data. But that's something that we're always constantly working with our clients on to understand when and where those new charter schools are going to come in because it really does impact you guys. We would expect over the next 5 years, based on some of the work that we've done, maybe a loss of about 60 additional students to some of these alternative educational opportunities. We do, by the way, contact the private schools that are in the area because there's no other way to get at the data. It's imperfect because the person that answers the phone doesn't always know where their students came from, but we have contacted them as best possible. By our estimates, the district has about 96.3% of the students that live in the district attending the district, and that's quite high. For a lot of our clients, suburban districts may be in the low 90s, and a lot of urban districts are in the 80s because there's so many that are moving out to private schools or to charter schools. So you can see a little bit of a breakdown there. You're losing some students out to other ISDs, but you're also gaining students transferring in. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Caroline to talk a little bit about economy and housing, and then I'll be back to wrap up the projections.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Calvert and School Board. It's good to be here. So as we jump into this conversation about economy and housing growth, we want to note that the volatile interest rates, they had some lows in the 2s in 2021 and 2022, and we're all back up to almost 8 last year. They are stabilizing to a new level where the market regains normal activity, with December rates averaging around 6.72. They're still hovering around that 7% mark right now. While inflation is still above the Fed's target of less than 2%, it is slowly flattening, which led the Fed to drop rates 3 times in late 2024, totaling 100 basis points. Now, we could see some current mortgage rates and the new tariffs impact on materials costs dampen some growth, leading us to predict a little bit of more modest housing growth in general. But that's something that we are keeping our eye on as we move forward. So as we start out in this part of the presentation, I want to just clarify that any numbers you see here are going to be projected new housing occupancies. These are not student numbers. Chris will get to that in a little bit. I'm just laying the foundation for her. So on this slide, when we talk about impactful single-family developments, these are developing currently and planned or projected projects with over 400 new occupancies in the next 10 years. The areas in the map in darker red are subdivisions that are currently under development, and then the lighter shaded areas are the planned or probable projects. So you can see that a lot of growth is going to be concentrated in the northwest portion of the district, with actively developing subdivisions such as the Highlands, which is marked by letter A, Porter's Mill South, marked by letter D, and Maple Heights, that is marked by letter C. Also, we have the future single-family development spurred from the Oakhurst tracts, which will be letters H, I, J, and K on the map. In total, there are 35 actively developing single-family subdivisions that will add around 5,900 homes to the district, and 21 that are in some stage of planning that will add another approximately 6,300 within the projection period. So the largest contributors to new single-family developments in New Caney ISD within this 10-year projection period are broken down here on this slide, with actively developing subdivisions being the 3 across the top, and then the 2 on the bottom being planned or probable. So the Highlands is currently the largest subdivision in development, already occupying 708 homes, with another 1,672 to be added through the projection period. The second largest is going to be Tavola West, developed by Lennar. This subdivision is moving along pretty quickly. It's got 614 homes already occupied. The remaining 786 homes PASA anticipates will occupy in the next 5 years. Last of the active developing subdivisions is Maple Heights. This is currently occupying 309 homes. This community is expected to reach its full build-out of all 917 homes by 2030. Then we have the large tracts that are represented by Oakhurst Development in the northwest, located generally around Gene Campbell Boulevard. These combined have the potential to add around 2,000 new homes within the projection period. And as concrete plans for this land come to be, that will help us paint a more accurate picture of the growth in this area of the district. Likewise, the Gunaganti family tract on the eastern side of the district holds a lot of potential for single-family development, and it could add around 1,300 homes in the next 10 years. But a timeline, again, remains hard to pinpoint until further plans materialize. So these heat maps represent where we project these new occupancies from the developing planned and probable future developments are going to be concentrated over the next 10 years. You can see here again that while there will still be some smaller developments throughout the district, a lot of those many new occupancies will be concentrated in that northwest corner. Some important things to remember when looking at these maps is that the shaded areas that you see are just the outlines of the district's planning units. These are not necessarily the areas of the actual developments themselves. Also, within this 10-year projection period, multifamily is anticipated to be an important growth factor, representing over a quarter of new housing in the district. But it is important to keep in mind that while multifamily represents 28% of projected new housing, it is only responsible for 11% of students in the district. It is common for multifamily to thrive around major transportation corridors and in areas where single-family housing has already attracted jobs, and then other things like amenities, retails, restaurants, and entertainment. So we're already seeing this trend in the Kingwood area, and it will continue as Valley Ranch continues to develop, along with future growth at the intersection of State Highway 99 and FM 1314. This graphic is intended to help you visualize the location and concentration of these new multifamily and build-to-rent projects in the district. The red and lighter red dots on the map are the projects that are currently leasing up or under construction, and then the other dots represent planned or probable future projects. Now, the sizes of the dots only indicates these phases of development and is not correlated with the total unit count. Along with what is leasing up and currently under construction, this chart on the left-hand side lists all the planned and probable projects that have more than 200 units total. Again, this is not projected new occupancies. This is just a unit count for the project on that site. For complete detail, you can find all of this information in the report. It is all listed in the housing spreadsheet and in our development overview map. At present, there are not many actively developing build-to-rent or multifamily projects in the district. There is the Preserve at Woodridge build-to-rent community, which is leasing up. It was about 75% leased up at the time of this study, and the Canyon Creek Apartments, which are still under construction. There are currently 5 planned multifamily projects in New Caney ISD, and these projects are projected to add approximately 1,130 units during the projection period. And then while specific plans are not yet confirmed, PASA estimates that several developments in the Valley Ranch area specifically could add around 1,600 units to the district by 2034. So what are going to be some of the things to watch moving forward? So one of the things that PASA evaluates during our process is the sale of land, as it is often the case that development follows during the sale of large tracts. So awareness of additional large tracts that are entering the market or selling is a critical focus point for our study. For New Caney ISD, those Oakhurst tracts and the Guniganti tract are among the last available undeveloped land areas with potential for large-scale single-family development, making it very important to monitor their progress. Utility development also acts as the backbone for residential development and can play a key role in whether a project is feasible or not. So in New Caney ISD, the New Caney Municipal Utility District and Porter Special Utility District combined serve as close to 45% of the district. With some smaller utility districts filling in some gaps, there are still many areas left uncovered. The lack of utility connections was repeatedly cited as a key reason why projects couldn't move forward during discussions with some local officials. And then, as mentioned earlier, multifamily is going to be an important growth sector in the district. This growth will be particularly notable in key areas like Kingwood, as mentioned, and the ongoing Valley Ranch development, and then in future mixed-use projects around State Highway 99 and FM 1314 again. It's important to keep an eye on these because some of these could include townhomes, and things like townhomes can spur some of those higher student ratios versus a traditional garden-style apartment type. Finally, to summarize, if this button works, there we go. We project 18,482 new occupancies over the 10-year projection period. That's going to be your golden number there. About 60% of these are going to be in traditional single-family residential. Just over 28% are going to be in multifamily, and almost 3% in manufactured housing. And then with that, I'm going to turn it back to Chris to explain how all of this information translate into the number of students in your district.
Okay, I've got just a few slides to wrap up here. I know you guys have a lot of other things on your agenda, but the student projections, I feel like that's where it really sort of the rubber meets the road. This slide just shows a little bit about what all goes into the projections. We've touched on a lot of these pieces here. It's not just students plus homes, that sort of a thing. Birth rates, we've mentioned that and that upward tick. Your incoming kindergarten class size, those aren't always the same thing. You would think they would be, but that's not always exactly the same, so we have to be careful there. Your existing homes, what is going on in your existing homes is that some of the developments that finished occupying that have a median age in sort of the early 2020s are continuing to add students. That means somebody bought a home with a 3-year-old, and so even though there are no new homes in the area, you're getting new kiddos that actually enroll in the district. Cohort size we have to take care of. Is there a random large second grade class that's moving forward? Just sometimes that happens. We've touched on the alternative educational opportunities there. We're hopeful that we're not going to see a lot of impact with that for you guys. We have assumed that there will be a voucher bill, that it won't be far-reaching, that it won't be extremely impactful to you guys. We've studied voucher bills in other states, and we'll have to still see if they come up with something that really surprises us all. We may have to revisit this. The aging of the current students, I mentioned the bulge of students moving out at the high school level. And then, of course, the biggest factor is that new housing construction that Caroline mentioned here. It could add anywhere between 500 and 875 students per year based on just those new homes coming in. So we develop a low, a moderate, and a high scenario of growth. Right now, the district, is sitting at about 19.4, 19.5. And so that dashed line there is that moderate scenario of growth. That's normally what we use in all of our planning. It's been pretty good in the last handful of years. I mentioned each year was sort of averaging about 600 students. You can see that delta from the dash line to the higher scenario of growth. That would assume that some of these, the Guniganti tract or some of these other tracts, kick off a little earlier, interest rates drop, some of these sorts of things. That delta from the dash line to the bottom there would assume lots of vouchers, another charter school or 3 come into the area, that sort of thing. Those are the sorts of impacts that would pull you down from that moderate scenario of growth. We do go ahead and project out 10 years. We know that the 10 years is going to be less accurate than the next couple of years, but it takes a long time. If you got to put secondary schools on the ground, it takes a long time to, site it and build it and all of the things that go into that. So we do project for 10 years and hope that we look at where we think we're headed. One quick note just to note on these next couple of slides Anything that you see on a map for the most part is your resident students projected. It's not necessarily your enrolled students. And so you do have some students that transfer back and forth between schools. You are much smaller than so many of our clients. I've been working with a district that has 20% of its kids at the elementary level that transfer around. And so you guys, I think the biggest number that I saw net in or out was about 60 kids at an elementary zone. So do keep that and that sort of thing in mind. And what we have done with the data is we have it at the planning unit level. For each one of these planning units, we have the projected number of students by grade group for each year of the 10-year projection period. And so that's how we can help the district do future planning by putting those together into your current zones and then breaking them apart and seeing what portions of the district would be good, ripe for another facility. This shows by each one of those planning units, just as an example, it shows the projected number of EE through 12th grade students. And so you can see from Highlands to Tavola to Roman Forest, the Guniganti Tract is the one there that's in the middle on the east, as the projected areas that we would see being the most dense by the end of the projection period. Then this map shows those geocoded, remember that, the resident students there, not with the transfers, that we've projected for your current attendance zones. It's actually your fall of 25 attendance zones with the opening of the new school there. What I look at in this sort of a thing is look at the difference that change between the 25 to 29 and 25 to 34. And so you can see they're color-coded by the areas that we would expect to grow the most. And it's not surprisingly there in that northwestern portion of the district. And you can see that New Caney Elementary, for example, might grow from 857 students to over 1,800 students. And so with your new schools having 900 in them, you can see that the New Caney zone could hold 2 schools. And so this is the way we start doing that planning with the district. And then when we look at things and compare them to capacity, this is sort of the way things look like for the next 10 years. These are highlighted based on exceeding 100% of capacity and exceeding 120% of capacity there in that sort of red mauve color. And in a growing district, almost all of our clients realize they have to use portable buildings, temporary buildings at some point in time. But you can only stack so many out there because the kiddos got to come in and eat lunch. And they were just talking, about the cafeteria workers managing to feed all 800 kids. But you don't want them eating lunch at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So a lot of our clients use sort of that 120% of capacity as that trigger point, like we really got to have a plan in place. And so you can see by the end of the projection period, absolutely everybody is over. The good news is nobody's overread for the first couple of years there. And then you can see that it would be New Caney and Porter that would be those that would expected to exceed capacity soonest. New Caney's going to pick up a little bit of capacity with the replacement school there, but it's not a ton. And so then it's going to need new additional relief there, of course. We're looking at about 5,000 elementary students added over the projection period. And so we're talking 4 or 5 additional schools, and that's 4 or 5 additional ones that won't be occupied in the fall. I know you got some money there for some, but that's 4 or 5 additional schools that won't be occupied in the fall that would need to come online to handle those 5,000 students, since each one is around 900 students capacity. Similar thing for the middle school level. You can see all that maroon, and that means grow in the north. You can see Kiefer Crossing, really seeing a lot of growth there over the 10-year time frame. White Oak, of course, also. And then when this is compared to capacity here, it's Kiefer Crossing that would be projected to exceed its capacity by 120% first, and White Oak next. And so you're somewhere in that range of 1.5 to 2 additional schools here in the next 10 years. The schools a lot of times are larger here. And so even though we're projecting about 1,800 students to be gained at the middle school level, depending on exactly how they're sited and where they sit and everything, probably 2 additional schools by the end of the 10 years. And then at the high school level, same sort of thing, except with the way the numbers and the attendance zones broke out. It's actually Porter that we would be expecting to need additional relief there. This is your geocoded 9th through 12th grade students over the 10-year time frame. Now, it is important to note here that all 3 of these schools will lose students due to transfers. And you would think, well, we shouldn't some students out and some students in, but they will all lose students due to the early college high school and to some of the other places that the kiddos go at the high school level. So it's not a ton for any one school, but it is important to realize that these numbers, the top will be taken off of these numbers just a little bit. But we would be looking at Porter here by the middle of the projection period, probably needing to bring on a new facility in order to relieve Porter. And with that, we'll open it up to any questions. No.
Told y'all it was a good one.
I've heard that before.
Well, thank you, Chris. The work y'all do, like I said, it's foundational for the work we'll do. And if we're like you just showed us, we pride ourselves in being a data-driven district, and there's that data. And so I think, it's no secret to anybody in this room what's going to be coming soon. So thank y'all for doing it. It's always very accurate, timely. Y'all are great to work with. It is beneficial across the district. So thank you so much. And like I said, the fire hydrant is closed for now, but this report will be on our website under the bond section, just like the 2022 study is. So Dr. Powell's will get that posted relatively soon. So thank y'all for your work. And
You guys know where to find us if you need anything.
Appreciate y'all's work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great information. Yeah, you're done. Yeah. All right. Item number 4 on the agenda is reports and proposals of board members. Do we have any committee meetings or anything to report on? Yeah. Item number 5 on the agenda is the consent calendar, consisting of consideration of minutes, finance reports, purchasing reports, personnel reports, and instruction reports. Are there any questions or further discussion? Do I have a motion on the consent calendar as presented?
Second.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Trout and a second by Mr. Alters. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Get one? Okay. Yep. Yep.
All right, in our consent calendar, there's always personnel actions in there. And so tonight we've got some introductions to make, really not introductions, it's just new names and new places due to some retirements. And so y'all are aware that Mr. Castleberry retired effective in December, and Ms. Schaffner is retiring this summer. And so anytime we've got retirements at the executive cabinet level, we always look to, hey, is our structure supporting our campuses? And so we decided to make a couple of tweaks. So these 2 new positions are not ads. We just repurpose the 2 that are being vacated due to retirements. So the 2 new positions is an executive director of secondary education and an executive director of elementary education. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Caesar Condarco as our new executive director of secondary education. Dr. Condarco came to us as principal at Kiefer Crossing, then to red side of town over at Porter High School, and he's been serving as our director of student services for the past year. So Caesar, welcome to the cabinet. Happy to have you. Next is our executive director of elementary education, and that would be Miss Nicole Land. And Nicole came to us as principal at Valley Ranch Elementary, and then moved to Porter Elementary before currently serving as our director of human resources. So we are excited to see what's ahead for those 2. They have got a proven track record and phenomenal people in our district already. So we'll definitely miss Ms. Schaffner and Mr. Castleberry, but it is in good hands as they enjoy the retired life. A couple more and then I'm done. It's that time of year, guys. Also in December, Mr. Tim Battenfield retired as our director of maintenance. And so although this one's a little hard for me because he's my kid's principal, Mr. Dan Carr, he will be our new director of maintenance, coming to us from Woodridge Forest Middle School. And then last but not least, before you know it, it's going to be football season again. And so we had the pleasure of hiring Coach Sheldon Benight. He is here tonight with his wife and son. So Coach, welcome to New Caney, and looking forward to great things with the Eagles.
All right. Yep. All right. Congratulations, everyone, and looking for great things out of every one of you. Item number 6 on the agenda is consideration of approval for out-of-state trip for the New Caney High School, Porter High School, and West Fork High School dance teams, presented by, that's supposed to be everyone?
No.
You all guys doing this together, huh?
We're going to get lots of people up here, so it's harder to say no.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon. Thanks for allowing me to speak on behalf of our dance programs. I'd like to ask for approval for our dance programs to travel out of state to Hawaii, way out of state. New Caney ISD dance teams will be performing at the Pearl Harbor Memorial. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the students of New Caney ISD to participate in a professional performance experience honoring American history. Participants would be the New Caney High School Bluebonnets, the Porter High School Golden Graces, and West Fork High School Flares. Dates are 11th through the 16th of March next school year. Number of instructional days missed is only 2. Cost per student is $2,600 per student. The cost for the district is $0. Funds are raised by students with no cost to the district. Chaperones are 6 high school dance directors and 1 administrator. Bart really wants to go. Fundraisers, each campus will conduct 2 fundraisers, one in the fall, one in the spring, to assist students in raising the funds. Additionally, each student will have monthly payment plan to break down the overall cost and provide effective payment measures for our students to afford this trip. Included in those costs are the flights, accommodations, meals, and all activities. In addition to the performance at the Pearl Harbor Memorial, students will experience the beautiful traditions of Hawaiian culture, such as a hula class, Hawaiian hike, city tour, luau, and Waikiki Beach. Thank you for your consideration of this exciting opportunity for our dance students.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite the trip there.
I got the medic.
All right.
How many students are you taking? How many students are in the program?
Depends on how many want to raise $2,600 a pop.
No. Yeah, I think question. Comments. All right. Yes. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state trip for New Caney High School, Porter High School, and West Fork High School dance teams? Good. All right. There will be no further discussion. A vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? The motion carries.
Good. Oh, okay. Not it. This ain't.
I don't think it's such a thing.
All right, item number 7 on the agenda is to consider approval of change order 53 to install paint booth and auto shop for New Caney High School Athletics Improvement and CTE Building Bond Project Bond 2023, presented by Mr. Richard Ressler.
Good evening. Thank y'all. So change order 53 is for New Caney High School. It's our new CTE building. It's for our auto tech program. We were toying around with the idea of the paint booth from kind of the get-go, and we've just decided, looking at kind of industry growth in our area, there's a couple groups that are going to partner with us on the auto tech side for paint and body, and are going to supply a lot of the amenities once our paint booth is hopefully built, and they're going to help our students too with job placement and things like that. And so we're just excited. I work with Brooke Lyles, our CT director, on this, and we just decided it was something that we wanted to add to the auto tech part of the building, and it's much cheaper and more efficient to do it now instead of doing it after the fact. And so that is hence the reason for coming to y'all tonight asking for that.
Great. Are there any questions or further discussion?
How much is it? Should be a not to exceed number of $350,000. The paint booth itself is going to be around $172,000. So just the unit itself is roughly half the cost, and then all your HVAC and your fire suppression that goes with it, and your electrical needs and things like that. It gets up pretty quick. And again, that's a not to exceed number. We're hoping that we can keep it down below that.
Now, are there any more questions? Am I good?
This was overlooked in the original bond package.
It wasn't something that was overlooked. I wouldn't say by any means that a teacher change kind of brought this on, but our prior teacher or two that we've had in auto tech, they didn't really have the capability of teaching the body and repair. That wasn't their specialty, and now we were able to pick up a teacher that can do these teaks and present to our kids this need, and that's part of the reason we were doing it. It's something we wanted to the whole time, but we were just concerned that we were going to build this and then not have someone that would have the ability to teach kids properly. And now not only do we have a teacher, but we've got 2 partners that are on board that are willing to partner with us to make sure the kids are successful, not only with these skills, but in job placement as well, and helping promote the whole program as a whole to the community. TASCO is one of them, and the other one is called ICAR. It's a industry standard for collision and repair, and they've both agreed to partner with our district. The ICAR is like some of the certifications and things more so than TASCO. TASCO is the partner that's willing to basically help us with startup and the technical support needed to get the booth up and running and provide all that. That's fine. Yes, so they'll come out with certifications that not only just help them, but it also helps us with our CCMR point for the campus as well. And those are sometimes hard to find. If a kid doesn't score extremely well on some of the other tests, this will give the campus an opportunity to earn that point through something that the kid has a strong interest in. And the industry in the last 10 years in our area is increased 17% for auto paint and body, according to some literature and some research that they were able to come up with. So we do feel like it's a benefit for the district, and will be highly used, not only just for auto tech kids, but all of our AIM mechanics groups when they're painting trailers, things of that nature. When I was in transportation, we would build a little paint booth and paint our buses on occasion. And so this will give us the opportunity to do it right and not have to make do. So we'll have the opportunity to work across the district with other departments too to help. This will be the only campus in the district with this facility. I'm sorry, do what, sir? It's the only campus in the district with this. Yes, sir. This is the only program that has auto tech out of our high schools. So yes. Yep. We good? Yep. All right. There being no further questions or discussion, the vote be taken. All those in favor? Sorry, let me get a motion. Do I have a motion? Second. A motion, Mr. Trout, and Angela has the second. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you. Paint goes up. All right. Item number 8 on the agenda is consideration of approval to award construction contract to the Learning Center and roof replacements for Pine Valley and White Oak Middle Schools, presented by Mr. Wrestler. Thank y'all again. So GTT Construction was our number one bid on this one after our evaluations and everything. So what this is a conversion of the current maintenance and operations building behind Pine Valley into a TLC. So we can relocate those kids to a little bit newer, nicer renovated facility. And it also starts our life cycle roof replacements at Pine Valley Middle School and White Oak Middle School. So we tried to bundle a few things together to have better competition and better bidding. And so that's why we were able to get 6 bids in, I believe, on this project. And GTT is, they've done some work. It's been a little while, but we're very excited to have them back and feel like they're going to do a great job for us and get these kids where they need to be very quickly. All right. Are there any questions for any discussion? All right, we have a motion. Motion by Mr. Trout and a second by Ms. Harrell. There being no further discussion, a vote be taken. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank y'all. All right, item number 9 on the agenda is closed meeting. The board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Opens Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of personnel matters, Government Code Chapter 551.071 for attorney consultation, and Government Code 551.072 for land development and real estate issues. Any action as a result of the closed session discussion will take place after the board reconvenes in open meeting. The time is 7:14 p.m.
All right, the board ended its closed session meeting at 8:27 p.m. and will now reconvene in open session. No yawning. Item 10 on the agenda is consider and discuss amendments and extensions of the contract for superintendent of schools. Presented by me, I guess, because it's in here. Huh? What the heck is that? Don't have a copy of it. Okay, guys. This is a result of the superintendent evaluation that we conducted. As 2 weeks ago, I guess, in regards to the extension of the superintendent's contract. Do we have any other questions or further discussion based off this evaluation? Good. All right. Are there any questions or further discussion? No. Is there a motion to approve the amendments and extension of the contract for the superintendent of school? Yep. Did you get that? All right. I've got a motion and a second for like the same time. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Congratulations. You're still employed. All right, item 11 on the agenda is consideration of resolution submitting nominees as candidate for the election to the Montgomery County or the Montgomery Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. We received the nomination form from the appraisal district with a list of names on there for you guys to put our vote behind. So I would just ask that y'all tell us what individual to reach back out to the appraisal district board to put New Caney ISD's votes behind to serve on the appraisal board potentially.
All right. Are there any questions or further discussion? No.
I nominate Arthur Breedenhoff for receiving the votes from New Caney ISD to serve on the Montgomery Central Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Okay. We have a motion to place 275 votes, correct? 275 votes for Arthur Breedenhoff for the nominee as a candidate for election for the Montgomery County Central District Board of Directors. Have a second. Second. And a second by Mr. Trout. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. Item number 12 on the agenda is future discussion topics. We have any future discussion topics that we want covered in the other agendas? All right. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Time is 8:30.